I'm going to start off today with our meditation and then the message.
Oh, okay.
And the message is, the title is actually going to be, Are You In? Kind of how it feels to be in meditation, and a little bit about that. So I'm going to start off with a song that I wrote that will bring you into meditation. It's called Songbird. And during the pandemic, I really, because not many musicians could get out there and sing, and it was the songbirds that kept bringing me back home, kept bringing me into spirit. We have a wonderful path near our home that we walked all the time. So I'm going to share that with you as we go. I invite you to take this walk with me in your path, wherever your path is taking you. Listening to nature, to the songbirds or the insects. Letting the experience take you? What kind of day is it? Are the smells around? Can you feel the wind? As you go deeper into meditation, just take note of the sensations of the earth and how they're helping you let go, move into a place where it's quiet. Take your time, listening and waiting. Just allow that peace to wash over you. Sense of relaxation, a sense of opening. Feel the love. Just let it pour out. Just notice it inside you, around you. Feel the connection you have with God. You're united. Just be aware of any guidance or messages or space of absolutely nothing but love is here for you today. There is no time, nothing to do or be. Just your love space, your heart space. I invite you to notice, though, that you are in meditation with a group of people here, each connecting to God. As we breathe in together, we feel that kinship with each other. We feel it with all of nature, all living things, all of life, all the gifts that God has given us. And so we take a moment in this meditation time to put our prayers right in the middle, right in the center. Knowing that our prayers are buoyed, lifted, and expanded by everyone here. And if you can, let that prayer kind of bubble up, and if you're willing, if you'd like to, feel free to speak your prayer out loud. We let that prayer go into the hands of God. We breathe and feel its integration, its connection of each other, of all life. And let that just seep into your body as you're sitting here in this room, awakening you and energizing you, helping you feel alive. And when you're ready, let that love wiggle your toes, your hands, your heart, your eyes, as you move your awareness in this space, in this room. Are you in?
I think so.
I wanted to talk about that because the other day when I was working on ideas for this message, I was in my garden, which is one of my favorite places to be in the world. And I was just noticing, first of all, that a feeling of entering into my garden is very powerful to me. I was thinking of bringing a picture, but we had a big archway. And so there's a little gate, this little magical feeling to just either step over it or open it up and just enter that little archway and go in. And I felt like when I was in that garden, that feeling of like, are you in? Because there's something that happens when I'm in there. It's very magical to me. I'm a real simple person. I'm like a kid. Just give me the basics, dirt, a shovel, and I'm thrilled. So weeding to me is a joy because I get to be in that dirt, and see everything that's growing this year. Our garden's doing really well, so it's even better than normal. And it vibrates. It's just like, come have some love, come have some love. So that idea of being in meditation, I thought I would talk about that experience of being in. Are you in? What does that even mean? What are we talking about? And do you know how that feels to be in there? And why I think it's important is that if you're going to do anything important in life, where you're coming from is important. To be in a certain kind of place. So it's good to know, and actually for me as a shamanic healer, I know whenever I'm going to work on someone, I need to be in a certain place. Otherwise, it's just not ethical, appropriate, it's not going to work, and all of that. So I want to talk about that feeling of being, first of all, entering in. And the reason I sang the song Songbird is because that song really gives me a lot of the feeling of being in meditation. There's something first about enjoying the waiting. Meditation is not something you can say, you know what, I'm going to meditate right now. I got 2 minutes, let's go. Boom, boom. And it doesn't happen that way. You cannot make yourself meditate. It's something different. You have to kind of wait. I was thinking about, Nina's cat here. For a cat, if you want to be friends with a cat, you can't go, okay, cat, let's do this. You gotta wait. How you doing? How you feeling today? Would you like to play with me? Would you like to meditate me? So it's that kind of a feeling of an honoring, a waiting, allowing, of moving a different kind of a place where you're not directing it, but you sort of are by just taking that first step. That first step is so important. That's the hardest one, is to say, I am going to meditate and I'm going to enjoy the waiting time, the opening the door, the entering into the garden, your sacred space. And when you enter in, you get a sensation of slowing down, not because you were rushing or anything like that. The slowing down is different. It's just time doesn't exist. It's like a timelessness, because when you wait, you have no idea. 10 seconds, 60 seconds, 5 minutes. You just have to let that go in order to let something open up and let the changes happen. When I'm writing a message or writing a song or anything like that, I might decide to do it. I get my guitar out, I got my pen, I got my stuff, whatever I'm going to use to record it or write it down. But it's something I'm waiting. I'm waiting for something to show up. So I also like to think of it like a labyrinth. When you enter a labyrinth, there's an entrance point and there is an intention. Sometimes you may not have a big intention to meditate. I don't think it's required, but the intention is at least to let go and meditate and to really enjoy that wait. Some people, maybe when they're writing a talk like this one, where we kind of shifted the week here, so I had a little less time than usual. I like to let them just show up, but if you're in a hurry, it can be a little stressful. I'd like it to be good, I'd like it to be, something meaningful, but you still can't rush that. Cannot rush that. You have to enjoy the waiting time, because something, I like to think of my garden, even though I know what I'm planting, I get these extra tomatoes that show up. I get something else that shows up because we compost, so who knows what's going to show up. And the zucchini are going wild this year, and the way that they're growing is so interesting and different. So it's this feeling of of just waiting for something. You don't know what it is, but you know it's going to be good. It's going to be really, really good. So I really enjoy that part. I never stress about what I'm writing, what I'm doing. I instead go into this place of just waiting and enjoying that wait and listening. I work as an intuitive a lot, and the intuitive, to me, that part of us is always what I call in the ask. Like it's in the asking. You can ask for something, again, and you're waiting for that to come in. I use different things to help me with that entrance, with that going in, that doorway. And I use nature. Nature is why I brought the flowers in today. We saw them at the farmer's market yesterday. This made me cry. They're just so brilliant and vibrant. But I always feel like that I don't have to do anything to see God right there at all. Nothing. There it is. It's clear. And the same in the summertime. When I drive by any flower, I think it's God actually waving to us saying, hey, do you see me? Do you see me? It's a very active expression of God to me here, because they are vibrant. You can feel the vibration. You can see the colors, intensity. There is something active happening here. It's trying to get our attention to go in and meditate and to commune with God. So to me, nature is incredible. My garden, this walk on this path, the songbirds, just your breath, of course, is amazing. You can be anywhere, but it is nice to use nature. My husband and I do meditate riding our bikes, because we actually use the prayer for protection, and we acknowledge all of nature that's around us and the light that's there. And like in the prayer, in the daily word where it says where two or more are gathered, we ask each other right then while we're riding, what's your request for today? And we do our prayer time right in nature as we're riding, because I want to see the flowers, I want to see the trees, I want to see the sky. So we do that in that's our little prayer time. So I think meditation can be very interesting, but I really like to use something like that. And I was thinking about how even when people prepare their meditation space, if it's a crystal or if it's just a clear room, all of those things are important to help you enter that little doorway and go in. And it can be pretty quick. The whole point to me of meditation is that going into that listening, that waiting and that listening. And there's a book by Jamie Sands, who, if you know, she has a package of medicine cards she put out years ago that are a lot of all different kinds of animals and what they all mean. She has one called the 13 Clan Mothers. And it just so happens the clan mother for the month of May, which is my birthday, is the listening woman, which I very much align with. But what she says here is the clan mother of the 5th month here teaches us how to enter the silence and how to listen to the ever-present messages of nature, our hearts, the spirit world, the viewpoints of other people, creature teachers, the animals, and the great mystery. And once a person can access the stillness and hear that still small voice within, that person has the potential to realize personal wholeness because she has learned the voice of inner truth. So we meditate to take that time to listen to all of those things, our own heart, spirit, each other, the animals, the truth, the still small voice. And once you hear that voice, and it may not sound like a voice, it could be a knowing, it could be still a blank, but once you hear that voice, you can't go back. Because I remember the very first time I heard that as a young person, and I could tell I had been, in a way, lying to myself and blocking certain things. And I made a commitment then. It was so cool to hear it. I'm like, I am never going to not listen to this again. And I think it's just something that, once you get to be in that space, I know all of you meditate, so I'm preaching to the choir here, that voice of inner truth that we all have is really special. And we have that. We always have that anchor. So how does it feel once you enter in and you've done the waiting, and you're in the listening mode, and you're just entering in? How does that feel? And that's why I love the prayer for protection, because the prayer for protection to me is a meditation. The first one being the light of God surrounds us. I always break that up into 3 steps. The light of God surrounds you, meaning wherever I'm looking at nature, other people. It surrounds me, it surrounds us. And as I say that, I feel like I'm dropping into like a bathtub full of love, like the love of God enfolds us. That's what I'm experiencing then. When I really see the light of God everywhere and it's vibrating, then I just drop into it. And so in meditation, I feel once you kind of get into that space of timelessness, you sort of just drop into that and let that love envelop us and lift us up. Again, while I love the songbird song, it's like once you kind of connect with the birds and hear their music and how they go one bird to the next and they weave their tunes and their colors, it's like, how can you not be lifted, And whatever you're experiencing in your meditation is uplifting, even if it's just peace, which is huge. That centering, that grounding, I often feel lost. Doesn't take me much to feel lost. I feel great when I'm in my garden, I'm grounded, everything's cool. And I go into some kind of a building or something where I feel very cut off. I'll come back and I'm like, I don't know, I'm not quite lost. Meditation brings you right to ground, right to center. And I feel a feeling of restoration, like a homecoming. So it's that lost feeling. It's not just being grounded, it's also, I feel like, okay, this is my home, this is my voice, this is my sacred space. I know where I am. Sometimes in the rest of the world, I really, things are a little more confusing. But really in there, that's the home. That's our home base. There's a daily word from January 18th of this year. It says, daily I pause from whatever I'm doing to take time to rest in my heart space. The peace I feel in my heart is a gift I give myself, a gift that expresses as a calm, bearing kindness and patience. Peaceful feelings spring forth from my awareness of my connection with God, which extends to a feeling of kinship with all other living things. I draw on an inexhaustible well in my heart and am refreshed and replenished with peace. So I look for that sensation of being energized in meditation, both relaxation at the same time, feeling energized, because I've taken that time to kind of reorient my whole self. So I love that daily word message there. And again, Jamie Sams from the book The 13 Clan Mother says, to live in total truth is to know the light of eternal flame of love. Again, once you know that, I think, it's something you can always bring back. So as I mentioned in the beginning of my message, it's so important to me that we talk about this, because if you know when you're in, then you know where you're coming from. in your everyday life, maybe you're getting together with a friend you're having some issues with, or someone in your family, or you're being challenged to say something or speak something or do something maybe hard, or it's important to take time before you do that and go in, so that you're coming from this place of truth and love. And knowing when you're in or not, I think for us in unity, something that is maybe not that hard to do, but it's really important, I think. And even though I said it's timelessness, it doesn't necessarily take a long time, but you do it a lot every day, to look at that flower, say the prayer for protection, or to take that breath and go, am I in? Ask yourself the question, am I in? Where am I coming from? This is so important to me right now because there's a lot that has to change in the world right now. And I think if Unity people, we're very, very big on making sure that we're coming from a good place, right? That we ourselves are at least not adding to the problem. But we need to do more right now. And if you're like me, I'm not sure where to put my energy sometimes. I love a lot of things that you're doing here. I think directly working on a problem is great, but sometimes I feel like I'm not enough, or there needs to be in a different kind of a position, a person doing something, or I don't know what it is. And I really started thinking about this and thinking, unity as a movement has such a great message. How can we amplify that by just being us? How can we maybe attach to that and say, we'll be more of your, like, the birds in the chevron. We're just going to keep expanding, magnifying that. And that has a lot to do with the power of what happens when we meditate together. Like I said in the meditation today, we have an awareness of we're a bunch of people together coming from a good place. That is going to amplify our message or amplify our energy. I like to think of a medicine wheel or like a big council. You want a council of different kinds of ideas. We want to be able to listen to different people. But the only way a council works, where everyone puts in their point of view and you get to where you need to go, is to make sure that there's sacred space. That sacred space, I don't feel is out there right now in the world for people to come together and resolve a lot of the issues that we have to take care of right now. So I feel like one of our jobs in unity is to create that feeling of being of a council where there's so much love that when people do get together, something will come together. Harmony, common ground, something is going to come forward. Where each of us, instead of going off the grid, we go onto the light grid. We know that every single time that we meditate, we turn on that light. And that we want to be in that prayer grid. We want to be in that light grid. So I was thinking, how can we seek out some ways to connect with a larger unity community, and the one here, and then in a larger one as well. So that prayer grid gets bigger. And there's a couple things I want to say about that. Is first of all, this weekend in Unity Village is the People's Conference for 2022, the national conference. Let's just send them. Let's send them our love. Whatever they're doing there, whatever they're going to put together, we want to make sure it works,
yes.
Right? We want to be part of that. The Eastern region has a conference coming up in October. And I think it's mostly going to be virtual. There might be both, but it's it's like a Monday through Thursday, the first week of October.
Okay.
Leanne and I are going to be doing sound healing as part of that. But let's all get into that somehow, and again for our region, make sure that whoever has the guts and the courage to say something, that we're helping them come from a good place. I have this quote here: truth is not only violated by falsehood, it may be equally outraged by silence. And it's one of the things I don't want us to be. Anybody know who Gary Vee is? Okay.
Familiar.
I think he's a very wild and crazy guy, but he's really not. But he just speaks in a very pop culture style, and he says a lot of the unity message, honestly. And he says, negativity is pretty loud. Why don't we make love louder?
Yeah.
And so
Amen.
I kind of like that idea of taking the idea of where we're coming from and helping us make the love louder. So there's something really cool happening in July. I think it's the 13th. Let me see if I have this right here. Yeah, here we go. Unity of Fairfax and Celebration Center of Falls Church have agreed to jointly host something for all of us in the local area. It's a New Thought Renaissance. It's just going to be an evening event where everyone from different New Thought groups are going to get together, and I just thought I need to tell you about it as part of this message this morning. And it's just going to be, we're going to start with a drum circle. Leanne and I are going to create a drum circle for that sacred space, that council. That's what I'm hoping as I'm speaking today, that's kind of how that turns out. But we have people like Sylvia Sumter from BC is coming. We have people from all over coming. And I'm not really part of the big planning part of it. I just know that the whole energy is about revival of our spirit. And I think that aligns with me so much in my heart right now. Because the pandemic is shifting. I just saw Bonnie Raitt last night. There were so many people there. And we're ready. Like, people are ready to really feel re-energized. So I thought we could all do that together. It's kind of one of my main points for today is that coming together in meditation could be that springboard to create a renaissance or renewal of love for the benefit of the greater good. So
if you'll send us that.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. Yeah, they asked us to be a part of that, and I thought, this is kind of where I am right now. How do we get that renewal, that energy of renewal, and get our voices out there? So either way, I bless you for listening to me today, for going in with me today, and for playing with the topic of Are You In?
Beautiful.
And I'd like to share another song with you.
Yay. Wonderful.
I was in Ireland for 2 weeks, about a week ago, my husband and I, and this song kept coming to me. I think it really talks about God is everywhere, even though I think there's a lot of horrendous things that are happening in the universe, in the world right now, the appearance of them anyway. God is everywhere, and that's for us to jump in with and help that expand. So this song is Everywhere I Am by Ricky Byers, and has a verse that's like just syllables. Yeah. So come and sing that with me. That's kind of a call to prayer. It's just a call for sacred space.